Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It's the Stansberry Show. Rock 106.9.
And welcome to Monday morning on the Stansberry Show here on Rock 106.9. If you missed anything last week, pick up the podcast there at WRQK.com. Got a lot to get to on this morning's program, including at 9 a.m. A DoorDash driver has been relieved of his position after using the N-word while dropping food off. Now you're asking yourself, why in the hell would a driver do that? Those of you that don't spend all day on the internet, well, I am envious of you, but you may have missed a few things. One of those things is that the N-word is having a little bit of a moment in the sun here. There's a resurgence. People are going out of their way to be using this word all over the internet now to kind of make the point that words are, in fact, just words. I think this is terrible advice. I would not do this if I were you. More and more people have been losing their jobs. It kind of started with some female influencer, the way all things do, right? And it kind of started with her kind of making a point. People kind of picked up on it and have been running with it. This man rings the door, drops the and screams the word, which, of course, you're asking yourself, why are you laughing? I'm laughing because it's like, why would you use this word? This person didn't do anything to you. They weren't yelling at you. There wasn't a heated debate. My point is this. I understand why this word comes out sometimes in arguments. I do. Not because I think it's justified, but because of this reason. I think sometimes people are just trying to make the other person lose their mind. And they know this word's a grenade. Watch now as this person's going to lose their mind when I use it, right? I think that's one of those things. I can understand in a heated situation. I don't think you should use it. I don't think it's the right thing to be doing, but I understand how it could happen. Just dropping off the Whopper, there's where you lose it. I'm confused on like, all right, this is what we're going to do here. We have yet another N-word story with an influencer. Jack Doherty now is a pretty big influencer. I'm going to guess your children probably watch some of his contents. Maybe you don't. He was standing in another fast food restaurant ordering and has used this word. He's coming back out now saying, no, I said hater. And it's like, well, there's no G's in that word, though. So that kind of makes that a little difficult to be leaning on that. We'll get there. And all the madness with the internet and the N-word, we'll get there coming up at 9 a.m. this morning on the Stansberry Show. Also at 8, we'll sit down and talk to Scott from winningfornextyear.com. One of the things I can't wait to talk to him about is Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper has been holding out a mandatory camp. He is entering the final year of his contract. He's looking for an extension and some high dollar money, I would imagine. Now the problem is the wide receiver market has just recently been reset by like 3 or 4 different guys. Amari's turning 30 or is already 30. I'll have to double check that. I'm sorry on that. And I don't think the Browns are going to be looking at $35, $40 million like some of these other contracts we've been seeing. So where are we headed with Amari Cooper? We'll talk to Scott from winningfornextyear.com about that. Also get you a little State of the Union with the guards and the Cavaliers, the coaching, who might join Donovan Mitchell. There's been some off-season stuff with Donovan Mitchell where there's probably a few questions to ask Scott about that, and we will do that coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Also, the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to take a look at obesity. If people are overweight, I would have to have my hand raised here. I have been eating my way through a bunch of misery, and it is doing me no favors. But could it be that being overweight or being obese, could it be that be the smartest decision you could ever make? One obese influencer is making this point. I think she's wrong about it, but we have that audio for you, and we'll give you that coming up at 8 o'clock. Also at 7. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark apparently cannot play nice with one another. They have both lied plenty of times about how they like each other just fine. I don't think that they do, and that is just fine. Plenty of athletes and competitors do not like one another. There was an incident the other day in a game. I think this is being a little overblown. It looks a little aggressive in real time. Once you start to slow it down, look at it from another angle. I believe Angel Reese was trying to make a basketball play. I don't think it ended up being a basketball play. Those can be the same thing. I think she was trying to do something and it ended up not going the way she thought. She tries to swat at the ball. Caitlin Clark gets hit in the head. Everybody else now responding as if they have been hit in the head. Matt Leinart has called for a suspension here from Angel Reese, and now, of course, people are calling him a racist for doing that. I think it was an overreaction by Matt Leinart. I'm not sure it was race related in what his response was. We will get to this madness, and we will do that coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. It is getting a little crazy with those two women. We had the U.S. Open over the weekend, and Rory McIlroy absolutely gave this away. I believe it is he bogeyed 3 of the 4 last holes, and then Rory all of a sudden decided he was going to act like a petulant child after the tournament. And we'll get into that, and we'll do that next here on the Stansberry Show. A woman is making the point that being overweight, obese even, could be the smartest decision you've ever made in your life. I think she's crazy, and we will get to this. I have some audio for you in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll take a listen to that. All right. So the U.S. Open was over the weekend. I believe the 124th playing at the U.S. Open, and there's been so much crying about this damn tournament for like the last week. And it's because Pinehurst went out of their way to make this tournament as difficult as it could be, because that is tradition. The U.S. Open is always one of the more harder golf courses, or tournaments rather, to win. They move courses. It's always one of the hardest tournaments to win. They grow the rough lawn, and they make sure the greens roll faster. A guy dropped a ball on one of the greens last week before the tournament, center green. It rolled all the way off the green, back halfway down the fairway. That is what's called a false front on a green. Looks like you're on the front of it, but it will slope right back off the front. And out there telling anybody the tournament was too hard. They were hitting a ball filled with duck feathers, for crying out loud. And then you know what I mean? Like, they weren't out there crying about how it was too hard. Bobby Jones just went out and got it done. So we had the U.S. Open. And we had a dramatic finish yesterday, which is what golf needs. Rory McIlroy is a proponent of growing the game. And then he urinated down the leg of it yesterday after the U.S. Open. It's not the biggest problem in the world. We don't have to take Rory and throw him off the earth. We don't have to prevent him from, competing in tournaments ever again. Well, it tarnishes his legacy. Well, his legacy coming out on the tour at like 19 years old and telling everybody that the Ryder Cup didn't matter. That's Rory's legacy. Remember that? When he told you the Ryder Cup didn't matter? Now you fast forward all these years, and the wisdom of an old man is on Rory. And he'll tell you how the Ryder is one of the most precious things in all of golf now that he's won it. Now all loves it. That's his legacy. His legacy over the last 2 years has been trying to keep LIV as far away from professional golf as he possibly can. And sure enough, a LIV golfer wins the U.S. Open yesterday. That's Rory's legacy now, is trying to hold on to the PGA. And he's done it for, like, the Houston Open, but when it comes to the majors, they're letting the LIV guys play. That's his legacy. Now, failing at that. I'm a Rory fan.